Could you tell us who you are?
My name is Abel Omeiza. I'm originally Nigerian. I was born and raised in Abuja, Nigeria, and I went to Covenant University for architecture. I moved to Winnipeg, Manitoba, to University of Manitoba for my master's in architecture. And now I currently live and work in Toronto, Ontario at Diamond Schmitt Architects as a junior architect and designer.
Okay, thank you. That's great. So how did you become passionate and involved in design?
The first thing was definitely my dad's influence on me. My dad is also a professional architect and a contractor. I was drawn to drawing, sketching, all the stuff I saw him do.
That's great. Yeah. So what are your design values?
Design is at its best when it's true to its essence, when it's solving a problem, and when it's not overcomplicated. Design is like advertising or branding. For you to speak to the final consumer, it needs to be as simple as it can. So you don't need complicated language to solve a simple problem. And I feel like the best answer is always in the problem itself that you're trying to solve as a designer. So that would be my core design value, it would be simplicity and honesty.
When you're designing, what is your design process like?
For me, it always starts with a statement of the problem. That's the first thing. I don't see design as a aesthetic exercise, just like art. The art is very useful, but for me, I see design as a problem-solving exercise. So I always start by the statement of the problem. So that would be from like a design brief. Then it goes into ideation, which will be setting up parameters based on those problems and go through as many ideas as you can of how you can solve it. Then start to mix and match and optimize ideas, because it's really hard to solve a problem 100%. But if you optimize your ideas, then you can go, let's say, 75%. Yeah.
So how do you collaborate with other individuals to realize your impactful designs?
Collaboration is extremely important in design. You don't know everything. And in the field of design in general, for like a really good work, you need to collaborate with people in sub-disciplines that are niche. So people have unique skill sets that you need to achieve overall design, whether it be visualization, specification, detailing, fabrication, all those type of things to collaborate with to come up with really, really good design. But at the same time, it's also really hard when you're competing with so many ideas and voices that it can make for bad design or just very stressful process. So it's really important, but it's good to know how to navigate it. And I think it's a learning process that you're constantly learning how to collaborate better.
Where do you think design is going?
The number one thing that I think is undeniable in today's world is sustainability. You need to design green and clean. You have to be conscious as a designer of the impact of your design on the environment. And not just in material choices, but like the lifetime impact. I think design is going, like, has to be super sustainable going forward.
What are the biggest challenges you face?
One of them will be getting people to buy into your ideas. A lot of people are really comfortable and stuck in what works right now, but trying to push the envelope is really tough. Getting people to on board with really new ideas.
Finally, what advice would you give to young students?
Being a student is where you have the greatest freedom to stretch your design muscles the most. You shouldn't be timid as a student designer. You should, to the best of your ability, try to stretch the creativity and imagination of your designs while you're a student, because you don't get that opportunity a lot when you're in the real world because of all the constraints. At the same time, be cognizant of like standards and methods of doing things realistically, but don't let that hinder how forward thinking you can be, because it's those ideas, those very early, you can even call them childlike ideas, that will inform the future. I'm definitely convinced of that.